This video is brought to you by the Minnetonka Coalition for Equitable Education, or the MCEE. We want to start off with an apology. We made a video about autism earlier, and through good, productive community feedback, learned some of the topics, language we used was inaccurate. We used some outdated information and apologize. So we made a new video. We want to thank everyone who brought concerns forward, and we will attempt to make a better video this time around. We also recognize autism is a sensitive subject for the neurodiverse community and a continually changing field. Since it's a changing field, we are going to take more of a social advocacy approach. So today's discussion, we will give a brief introduction about autism and follow heavily on some of the current social justice advocacy taken for students with autism. Autism is a human neurological variant that cannot be understood without the social model of disability. Members of the autism civil rights movement adopt a position of neurodiversity by recognizing autistic traits as natural variations of cognition, motivations, and patterns of behavior within the human species. That means two different children can be classified as autistic but not have the same behavior. The first advocacy effort is language. Autism is sometimes thought of as wrong or abnormal. This isn't true. Autism is just a form of brain activity or neurotype. It's not wrong, and it's a completely normal processing type. Words the community likes to use are neurodivergent. Morticia Adams says it best with, "What is normal to the spider is chaos to the fly." Another bit of language is high functioning versus low functioning. The problem with labeling individuals as high functioning and low functioning is the relational concept we keep hitting on. You cannot relate how a child experiences the world with another because it sets up the other side of life. That is a general rule. Don't other people. It's wrong and it's disrespectful. Besides language, there's also the crisis of the cure narrative. Again, autism isn't wrong and it isn't a disease or an epidemic, so it doesn't need a cure. Advocating for a cure can lead to neurodivergent individuals feeling worthless and experiencing heavy stigmatization. The cure crisis was also popularized by a group called Autism Speaks in 2005, and that's where our first mistake came in. The puzzle piece. We use the puzzle piece in relation to connecting neurodivergent and neurotypical students. However, the puzzle piece has a sinister origin. In 1999, the Autism Society used the puzzle piece to describe individuals with autism as missing certain parts and the need to find the right puzzle piece. Individuals with autism are not missing anything, so say goodbye to the puzzle piece image. Next, let's introduce labeling. The second mistake we made was using Asperger's, which has since been disallowed in the community due to its association with Nazis. Enough said why people don't want to use it anymore. Second, labeling can have some pretty negative bias effects. Labeling, which leads to bias, can result in deprivation of agency and self-worth for an individual. Labels can also affect how others treat and perceive an individual who is neurodivergent. So what can you do as an individual? Well, try to educate yourself with a lot of appropriate sources, and to actively go into the community to learn. There's never a better source of information than getting water straight from the well. And we made this mistake initially, and we have hopefully rectified that moving forward. What can we do as education systems for students that have autism? One is to offer support to caregivers and family members. Autism is tricky to understand, and it needs to be a process family, students, and educators take together to facilitate proper research and techniques. You need to decrease bias and understand how to effectively empower your student. That's the crux, allowing the student to develop agency and empower them during their education. Second, increase resource availability. Autism is very individual specific, so the interventions have to be individual specific too. Increasing the resources available to students can increase the success of finding appropriate learning models which best serve the student. While evaluation is great, we need to be careful of not labeling students and exposing them to potential bias. Evaluation should be more about finding ways to maximize a student's strengths and connect them with the appropriate learning model. 3. Increase education about autism for all students and integrate it into anti-bullying interventions. You can start with reading books to children in kindergarten and having professional speakers come in for older students. And the final thing you can do is increase education on autism for teachers, administrators, and parents. It's important that the entire school community understands at least the fundamentals of autism and gets guidance on how best to interact with students that have autism. Thank you for watching today's video. We hope we nailed it this time around, but always let us know if you have any feedback. Follow us on our social media. Thanks.